the first time they tried to tear the dragon hatchling away. It bit through a soldier's gauntlet and screamed so loudly that the stained glass windows shattered. But it was not the sound that terrified them, it was the way the creature went still the moment the human boy was dragged back into the room, as if nothing else in the world mattered. Cale had never meant to be anyone important. He was the kind of boy people forgot to count. Born in a dying village at the edge of the Blackstone Valley, he grew up watching smoke rise from farms that once held laughter. His father died in a border skirmish before Cale learned to hold a sword. His mother followed the next winter, her cough echoing in their empty house until it didn't echo at all after that. He belonged to no one. He survived by fixing fences, carrying water, cleaning stables in towns that never remembered his name. He learned to keep his head down and his voice quiet. That was why he was in the mountains. The night the sky cracked open, hunters had chased something into the cliffs. Cale heard the thunder before he saw the fire. When he reached the ravine, he found a crater, still smoking. Inside, it lay a dragon hatchling. Its scales were dark silver, dulled by ash and blood. One wing was bent unnaturally, bone piercing through scale. A jagged black mark pulsed across its chest like a living wound. It was barely breathing. Cale should have run. Instead, he slid down into the crater and touched its neck. The dragon's eyes snapped open. Gold met gray. They stared at each other. Two broken things in a world that had no patience for weakness. "Easy," Cale whispered, though his hands were shaking. The dragon tried to breathe fire. Only smoke came out. For 3 days and nights, Cale stayed in that ravine. He tore his shirt to bind the wing. He carried water in cupped hands. He spoke softly about nothing at all, about the village that used to stand, about the way wheat looked under sunrise, about how loneliness felt like winter that never ended. The dragon listened. On the 4th night, the hatchling shifted closer and slept. Its head rested against his chest, and for the first time since his mother died, Cale felt something warm and alive leaning into him. When the soldiers found them, it was almost peaceful. Almost. The king's banners snapped in the wind above the ravine. Archers surrounded them. Priests in white robes stared down at the dragon with greedy fascination. "That mark," I whispered. "The curse is active." The captain stepped forward. "The creature belongs to the crown." Cale stood slowly. "It's hurt. That is not your concern." They moved fast. Chains flew, hooks pierced scale. The dragon screamed. Cale tried to shield its head, but a soldier slammed him aside. His face hit stone. Blood filled his mouth. "Please," he rasped. The dragon fought until its broken wing twisted again and it collapsed. Gasping, they dragged it away, and they dragged Cale with it. The fortress smelled of oil and iron. They chained the dragon in the lowest chamber, runes glowing along the walls. Priests circled it, chanting. The curse mark on its chest pulsed brighter with every word. Cale was thrown into a cell across the corridor. The first night, the dragon did not sleep. It thrashed until stone cracked it, burned until the air turned thick with smoke. It screamed Cale's name in a sound that did not belong to any human language, but somehow reached his bones. On the 2nd night, they brought him in. "Stand there," the captain ordered. Cale staggered toward the dragon. The moment his fingers brushed its scale, the chamber fell silent. The dragon exhaled. Its massive head lowered. Its golden eyes closed. It slept. The priests stopped chanting. The captain stared. The king was summoned. From that day forward, they tried to break the bond. They starved the dragon. It refused food unless Cale fed it. They beat Cale. The dragon roared until blood leaked from its own wounds. They separated them 4 hours. The dragon clawed at the runes until its talons split. But the moment Cale returned, even limping and bruised. It rested. The king began to understand. "This is not coincidence," he said coldly. "It is design." Kale was dragged before the throne. "You were born during the eclipse 20 years ago," the king said. The same night the ritual was completed. Kale's stomach turned. The dragon's curse required an anchor, a human soul tied to its life. "We did not expect the anchor to survive." The words hollowed him. "You made me," he whispered. "We made you useful." The dragon roared somewhere deep below, sensing his distress. The king leaned closer. "If you die, the curse completes. The dragon will obey only me." Silence fell heavy. Cael realized the truth. He was never meant to matter, only to control. That night, the captain entered his cell. "They've ordered it," he said quietly. "At dawn." Kale nodded. He was tired, not of pain, of being nothing. At dawn, they brought him to the chamber. The dragon was weaker now. Its scales had lost their shine. The curse mark spread like ink in water when it saw him. It tried to rise. Chains held. Kale stepped forward. The executioner raised his blade. "Wait," Kale said softly. He reached up and pressed his forehead to the dragon's. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I couldn't save you." The dragon's. I filled with something deeper than rage, fear, not of death, of losing him. The blade came down, and the dragon exploded in light. Chains shattered, runes cracked. The curse flared white instead of black. The king screamed. As the magic twisted back toward him, Kale felt heat surge through his veins. "Not burning. Choosing. The dragon roared. But this time it was not pain, it was defiance. The bond shifted, no longer anchor and curse, but equal. The executioner's blade dissolved inches from Kale's neck. The king fell, clutching his chest as the ritual he had crafted for decades unraveled inside him. The dragon's broken wing straightened with a sickening snap. Its body grew larger, stronger, not monstrous, not magnificent. Fire circled them, but it did not harm Kale. The soldiers fled. The priests fell silent. Kale stood in the center of the chamber, trembling. "I don't want power," he said through tears. "I just didn't want to be alone." The dragon lowered its head. The curse mark faded, replaced by a faint silver glow. It touched his chest gently with its claw, and for the first time, Kale felt the bond as warmth, not chains. They walked out of the fortress together. No one stopped them. Outside, the sky was clear. The dragon folded its wings carefully, still healing. It nudged Kale forward, as if asking where to go. He looked back only once. The kingdom that had tried to own them seemed smaller now. Fear had ruled it. Control had poisoned it. "Let them rebuild," Kale murmured. The dragon huffed softly. They headed toward the mountains. Days passed. The dragon grew stronger. It still slept with its head near Kale's heart, but now it could rest even when he walked a few steps away. The bond was no longer desperation, it was trust. One evening, as the sun bled gold across the cliffs, the dragon lifted its head and stared at him. "You could leave," Kale said quietly. "You don't need me anymore." The dragon moved closer instead. Its warm breath brushed his face, and it lay down. Choosing Cael smiled. For years, he had believed he existed only as someone else's tool. But standing beside the dragon, he understood something simple and powerful. Even if the world tries to create you for control, you still get to choose who you become. The dragon closed its eyes and slept, not because it had to, but because it trusted the human who never walked away.